Well, thanks again, Brett, for hosting this. You guys did a great job, you and Jay Sarah, and we appreciate everything you do for high school baseball, and also you guys that stayed around for the media as well to get baseball out there. We really appreciate you guys. So our program, obviously, this is my 20th year coaching high school baseball, or the head coach at El Toro High School. It's been a long run. It's been an enjoyable run. We have a proud tradition at El Toro, the kids that we turn out, and we've had some success as far as some CIF championships, some league championships. We got a couple players in the big leagues. We got a couple players that are lawyers, doctors, policemen. We've produced all sorts of players. So I'm very proud of that fact that not only produced, obviously everybody knows about Nolan and Matt in Austin, but proud of the fact that we have, some of my former players, lawyers. I teach government. They come in and talk to my students as well. So the reason I say that is because I tell all these kids that how important our program is and what kind of legacy you're going to leave and so forth. And it's important that not only you play baseball, but you get it done in the classroom. And all these guys up here, Paul's a 4.8 GPA. I think Gavin's a 4.45 GPA, and Shane's a 3.8, 3.9 GPA as well. So we're very proud of the fact. As far as this year goes, I like our club. We return a lot of players, probably 8 or 9 guys. These 3 guys are returning all league players for us. I like our guys on the mound. Paul's going to be our number 1 guy, and Shane's going to be a guy on the mound as well. And then we have 2 other guys that we feel good with, Gordy Went, and then also a newcomer from the JV team, Colin Duvall. So I think on the mound we're pretty good. We feel pretty safe about throwing strikes and getting guys out and throwing ground balls, and hopefully we can play defense. I like our defense. Like I said, we have a lot of guys returning. We have all 3 outfielders returning, and we have our first baseman returning with Shane, and we have one of our middle guys returning. We moved from third base to second base, Nico Kladopoulos. Then we have a shortstop who's a sophomore, Leo Sanchez, who's really talented. And then also we got a kid, a junior, Clayton Lang, who's playing third base for us. And then obviously Paul's going to pitch and be behind the plate. And also Evan Kramer is a senior who's going to contribute as well. So I like our club on the mound. I like our club defensively. Hitting is always hit and miss, if you will. It's just tough to hit, especially in our league and the opponents that we play. Consistency is what we ask. We talk about you don't have to be great, you don't have to be terrible. We just want to know what we're going to get every single day. So, and if we're able to put the ball in play like we have in the past and play our short game, bunt, drag, sacrifice, push bunt, safety squeeze, all that stuff. And we can run this year a little bit. We have some guys that have pretty good speed on the bases, and they're pretty good base runners. So, and we look to capitalize on balls in the dirt and also our run game and so forth. So, like I said, we have a real veteran group. We're heavy with seniors, but we have a good mix of a couple of young players and also juniors. So, like I said, we all play in a tough South Coast League. We play a good schedule in the Loire tournament, then we play in the Anaheim Lions tournament. We played in Brett's in the Boris Classic, so we try to schedule as tough as we can. We have John Weber and Cypress in a doubleheader. We have San Juan Hills in a doubleheader. So our goal is really to get our players ready for those most important 12 league games, because that's what's going to determine a league championship, and that's what's going to determine a playoff run. So I'm not so concerned about the other games other than the 12. It doesn't matter what our record is, because like I said, and these guys know that's just the most important 12 games, and that's going to determine our fate. It doesn't matter how we do out of league. Just as long as we're getting better, we're getting experience, everything, we're going to be on the right track based on the opponents that we play. So that's all I have for me. If there's any questions.
Sure. For Paul, Air Force, interesting selection. What was behind it?
Basically just the overall opportunities that Air Force provided, a top-tier education, job security after college, and a very good D1 conference that we're going to be playing in with good coaching and good competition. Just overall, the opportunities there were unlike anywhere else that I've found.
About how old were you when you kind of focused on that or started making that a goal?
End of freshman, early sophomore year, I think.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Shane, CBU, you chose them. Tell us what was your decision behind that. They're an up-and-coming Division I program.
Yep.
Talk about it a little bit.
Well, I think CBU is a school that's commonly been slept on lately because it's a new D1. Nobody really knows much about them, but their coaches have previously coached at some big schools, and they've made some great leaps and bounds, becoming a legit school. And every time they come and watch me play, I've just never had other schools come watch me be so personal and vocal with my parents. They come and watch every game, sit with my parents. Just never had another school just react to us like that, and that's won me over.
Paul, question for you. Obviously, traditionally and historically, a catcher, we're starting to see more of you on the mound. What sort of feedback are you hearing, from scouts, professional scouts, as it pertains to, potential future in pro ball? Is it primarily behind the plate, or are you hearing more, hey, there's some projection on the mound there?
It kind of depends on the team with me right now. Personally, I'd rather stay behind the plate, and so if I can do that, then that's what I would rather do. But pitching is obviously really fun. If that can get me to the next level, I want to do that. And I believe that there's a future, potentially both ways for me. So I'm going to explore that as much as possible. I'm going to keep both my options open, and depending on what the teams want, then I'll act that way.
Will you have the opportunity to do both at Air Force?
Yes, sir. They recruited me as a catcher, and just recently I've become more of a pitcher. So they'll give me the opportunity, I think, to go both ways.
South Coast League is brutal. El Toro, unlike some of the schools here, such an outstanding baseball team, but not 3 or 4 other team sports on that level. Does that put a certain level of pressure on you guys, knowing that this is the athletics program that really the school prides itself on?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think it's a little bit of added pressure. Going to all those football games this year was, it was a long season. And yeah, we have some other sports that are a little underrated and they compete, but for sure, knowing that we are the program to be, we are that dominant program on campus, it just puts a high expectation level out there for us, which is obviously a really good thing. So.
It just feels great, honestly, because obviously there's a big expectation, but just having that pride that we're the program of our school is just really nice to walk around school basically just feeling that.
Yeah, everyone on campus really knows who the baseball team is. And I really pride ourselves on being the best overall team on campus, whether that be on the field. I believe that we've had the most success recently on the field out of all of our programs, as well as in the classroom. And I think that we can represent ourselves well in the classroom compared to what other sports at our school are doing. So I wouldn't say it's a ton of added pressure on me, but it's just definitely some pride that's added.
Thank you, guys.
Any other questions you guys have for Coach Gonzalez? I think we're good. Oh, Steve?
I'll ask one real quick. For Mike, rank the teams in the league. What do you got?
Oh, man. Well,
All tied for fifth
well,
or something?
well, these guys are laughing because we had this conversation just the other day. And I really only talk about our team and where I see our team. So after a couple weeks in January, I told these guys that the good news and the bad news. I said we'll probably be the 5th ranked team. The good news is, and then the bad news is there's only 5 teams in our league. So right now, I tell these guys we're probably the 5th ranked team in our league. So we got a lot of work to do. I believe that we have an opportunity to win a league championship if we do the right things and we buy into what we're doing, like these kids have always done in the past, and they're going to have an opportunity to leave their legacy. I think they're going to do a great job, and they're going to relish that opportunity. And I told the same thing to our 2013 class with Gavin Collins and Joan Arenado and Ryan Coyote and those guys, and I said the same thing to them. They ended up winning a league championship. So. We'll see how it works out. I know Capo's good. I know Mission's good. Everybody's good in our league, so it's just really tough. Obviously based on if you look at the numbers, who's coming back, and Capo won the league championship last year, and they have their arms coming back, and they have their catcher coming back, and Casper coming back. So they're probably the odds-on favorite.
Thank you.
Gonzo, you talked about the guys in the big leagues, you know, the alums in the big leagues. And for you, it's a question for all of you guys, but I'm going to start with you. As a coach, what does that, you know, how does that make you feel? I mean, obviously you probably love these guys like children of your own, but I mean, what sort of pride or what is the feeling and emotions you get when those guys come back? And for the players, what's it like for you guys to have big leaguers roaming your campus, you know, just there that you can ask a question to, pick their brain? So, Gonzo, I'll start with you.
Yeah, it's a great situation for our program and our guys. Like you said, Les, you know, these guys are like my kids, and I've known Matt and Nolan and Austin since they were 13 years old. So I've seen them grow, and I've seen them grow up to be men and husbands and fathers and so forth. And they've always been great to our program. They've always come back and been a part of our program and helped with our guys on campus. You know, Nolan has his own facility in Lake Forest, so he doesn't come around as much. Matt comes around every now and then. Austin comes around. It's kind of hit and miss because they kind of do their own thing, and you know, we don't put any pressure on them. But you know, when they do come back, you know, they're a great representation of what work ethic is and so forth. And like I said, they're so good to our program, and they're always texting me about how our program's doing and keeping an eye on these guys. And you know, they read about in the paper and hear about these guys on social media, so they always want to know what's going on. And you know, those three guys, even though in the big leagues, they care very much about our program and where it's headed and the players that we have. So that makes me feel good and makes these guys feel good as well, having, you know, to be a part of that and part of the alumni.
Yeah, I'd say our alumni tradition and all of our great Major League Baseball players and professional guys, it just speaks volumes to how established and how good of a program we have here at El Toro. And a lot of people walking around campus, they don't understand how great these players are. Nolan Arenado's, you know, 7-time consecutive Gold Glove winner. And Matt Chapman's up on the rise, and he's a great fielder at the same position as well. So, you know, the people that do understand and realize that are like, wow, you guys really have something special going. So I would like it to be more of a widespread understanding of just how good this program is and the alumni that we have. But for sure, the alumni, it's just so important to who we are and what we play for and the tradition we want to carry on. So.
I just think it's kind of amazing that just the two, if not best third basemen in the MLB came out of the same high school within the same 2-3 years. And just last week, or probably a month ago, Matt Chapman came back, and I see some guys just waiting by the fence to get into the field holding bats, and I'm like, oh, you're probably going to have to wait for coach to come up here or whatever. And turns around, it's Matt Chapman, and I was like, oh, no, oh, hey, Matt, how you doing? It's just really cool to have those guys come back and be so down to earth with us and just want to talk about whatever.
Yeah, I've had the opportunity to talk with Austin Romine a couple times, and you know, being a catcher, there's a lot of like mental side and just you have to understand the game a lot better than the other positions, I think. But talking with him, I got to know just what he was thinking with certain pitch calling and you know, how to read hitters and that kind of thing, and just figuring out the mental side of the game and how to understand what's going on to a deeper level, and then just seeing how hard those guys work, just seeing how hard they grind. It definitely gives us some pride, gives us you know, a goal to work toward as baseball players, to see what we can be in you know, 5-10 years if we keep working toward that.
Yeah, it was nice off what Paul was talking about a couple years ago, or when we had Tolman here. Austin wanted to catch some bullpens, so he actually came in and caught some bullpens for our varsity guys. So it was a pretty good treat for our pitchers to be able to throw to Austin Romine and talk about pitch selection, and like Paul was talking about the mental part of the game. And that's the nice thing is those guys are always willing to share whatever questions these guys have and knowledge, which is nice for them and also is huge for me to validate some of the things that we do in our program and so forth. So it's nice to really have those guys and to have a friendship.
Any other questions for Coach Gonzalez? All right, that wraps up our
Thanks,
first
guys. Thanks for staying.
SoCal Media Day. I'd like to thank all you guys for attending. Connor Morissette, Lance Smith, Bob Gibson, Steve Fryer, Steve Granado, Eric Sonheimer, Steve Doherty, Les Lukash, Paul Del Pizzo for the cameraman, Gordon Spencer for helping cameraman, Sarah Breckbill for putting the live stream together. Brooke Davis, who she's not here, she created the media guide. Just really everybody that, obviously the coaches that all attended it, the student athletes. I'm super appreciative of all you guys being here, being a part of it. Obviously Les and Prep Baseball Report for helping sponsor this event. So I know it's hope we look to do this again. We look to make it bigger and better. And so I want to thank all you guys for being here. Steve, you're a legend in the field, so you're a big part of Orange County sports. And then obviously Jonathan Khamis as well. Jonathan for Camp Chronicles and all you do for high school sports. So thank you guys all for being here and being a part of it. Thank you.
Still feel